All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Humanhood Series. A creation, a conversation, a movement brought to you by Casey Riley and
Melanie Peralta.
And we are so stoked to be back. Season 1 and 2 is officially out and live.
Yes.
And today we are back with some updates
Yeah.
of the evolution of the Humanhood series.
Yeah.
And Melanie and I sat down together and we really just had a little conversation about the vision of Humanhood and what we're loving about it and the feedback that we're receiving from everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in with us. Thank you for your messages. Thank you for your funny ass voice memos.
Yeah, I get such good ones, dude.
And just sharing your reflections. It really just means so much to us. So thank you for that. And so after we kind of sat down and dove into what is humanhood going to look like moving forward, we have decided that we are rolling with this thing, baby. It is going to be a continuous conversation week after week. So the episodes and the conversations will be shaped and looked a little bit differently than what we have been putting out initially. They're going to be a little bit more open-ended, a little bit more relevant to what's going on in our lives right now and just in the world in general.
Yeah.
We're also going to be bringing on guests.
I'm so excited for that.
Which I'm so stoked about because the whole intention of Humanhood is to make personal development more personal. And I feel like with so many incredible figures and leaders out there, I want to know more about their stories.
Me too.
I want to know more about their humanness and what they're moving through right now.
Right.
And so we're really excited to bring you guys some epic guests. And if you have anyone in mind that you would want featured on the Humanhood series,
send them our way. Yeah.
Yes.
Let us know. We have some really great people lined up so far.
We do.
Already.
Yes.
So I'm really excited for you guys to see some of the guests because our goal is to not just highlight the big figures that people already know, but to also highlight the prominent figures in our lives. And just the nuances of these different dynamics that we have. So I think it's going to be really great to bring people in. I don't know what our setup is going to be. We're going to figure it out after this.
After this filming, we're moving shit around.
And we're going to figure it out how we can establish a guest type of setup over here. But like Casey said, thank you guys so much. When we started this, we didn't know what was going to happen with it. We didn't know how we were going to feel about it. And like Casey said, after the meeting that we had recently, we're like, this feels great. This feels really good. It's fun. We've got a flow. It's easy. We didn't know if it was going to be like this huge daunting task. And obviously there's a lot of love and commitment and devotion that goes into it, but it's been so great. So I'm really excited to keep it going and just to see what happens with it, to see how it evolves and to dive deeper into so many more conversations as life goes on, because life has been going on.
It really has.
Let me tell you. Girl.
Yeah.
Woo. So, we've talked about what this series has come with. You shared with me and even on the series that there's so much that your people are learning about you through the series. And I'm going through the same thing in my own type of way to a degree. So I actually hadn't told you about this yet, but the reason why I was late today, a little late, was because the piece of content that got put out today from the last episode was one about me talking about my healing experience with my mom. And I got a call from her this morning and she was in shambles. And mind you, I was just with her and our whole family this past weekend.
Is she on social media?
She's on Facebook.
Okay.
Which is like, normally I don't share certain content to Facebook specifically because that is where all of my family is. Yes. But this reel got shared to Facebook once I posted it, and sometimes that just happens and you forget to whatever.
Totally.
And so, but that also sucks that I feel like I have to do that because this is who I am, and this is my world, and this is my career, and this is what I do. And that was one of the things that I had to share with my mom this morning, because she called me and she was just bawling her eyes out as soon as I answered the phone. And I was like, you saw my post? She was like, yes, why don't you tell the whole story? And I'm like, Ma, I did tell the whole story.
Trust me, I did.
In the entire episode. That was a tiny little clip of an hour-long episode. And these clips are meant to inspire people to go watch the full episode, to go tune into the full conversation. And I'm like, did you even read my caption? She was just so emotional. And I feel her, you know, because to her, she's looking at it from such a shameful place. She still carries so much shame around it. And as much as I try to talk to her about releasing that, it's just like, you know, it's a big thing for her. And so she's just like, why do you do this to me? And I'm like, Ma, I'm like, it's not about you. She's like, yes, it is about me. This is my story. And I'm like, it's our story. It's our story. It's my story. And we're good now, Ma. We're in a good place. And everybody knows that. I just posted all of these videos of us having an amazing family weekend. Yeah. And I'm always talking about how we've healed and how we're in a great place now. But that episode was about the past versions of ourselves and how we got from who we were to who we are now. And that's a part of my story, Ma. You know? And I'm like, this is my career. I'm not just some corporate person that has a totally irrelevant job. My mission and my purpose on this planet is to be me and to share my story and to share my voice and to help people heal and transform and evolve in their lives. And I have to have these conversations and I have to share my experience in order for that to happen. You know, I'm like, it's not even about me. Because she's like, well, you're entitled to tell your story and do your healing process. I'm like, this isn't even a part of my healing process anymore because I've already moved through it. Now I'm using my healing process to support other people in their healing process. Like, this is bigger than me. It's bigger than you. But the thing is a lot of my other family members, they hate it. And so she's like, well, your sister's not going to be happy about this because she knows how it makes me feel when you do that. And I'm like, but then I call my sister. My sister's like, I don't give a fuck.
Sisters are the best.
My sister was like, nothing you said was not true. Like, it's all true and it's okay. And you didn't like bash her or anything like that, you know? She's like, what does she expect, you know?
But I think this is really common for a lot
of people.
Because I am moving through that as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of people want to share their stories, but we can be so fearful of what people are going to think.
Yes.
And so I love that you're talking about this because I know someone out there wants to share a major piece of their story and they're not going to.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like, you get to do whatever you want, but how do you navigate those conversations? Because we are talking about people in our lives and we don't want to hurt their feelings. And your mom is right. It is her story to share.
Yeah.
And so it's like, how do you navigate those boundaries as a family to make sure that you can continue spreading your message while respecting the familial boundaries as well, if there's any?
Totally. And there are, you know, like, I'm not going into all of these like crazy, you know, super details and all of that. But for me, the most important thing and what I was really trying to get her to pay attention to is I'm like, when you see any posts of me sharing about our experience or the past or anything, pay attention to the present. Pay attention to where we are now. We're good, Ma. We're fine. We have a happy, healthy, loving, thriving relationship. And me sharing about the past experience doesn't take away from that. It's just the reality of the past.
Yeah.
It is. And people have no idea how much internal work really does go into it, because I really hate being the cousin and the niece that everyone's low-key mad at or kind of talking shit about, or like I hear things, you know, and my relatives, they don't love what I do and how I do it, but I know why I'm doing it. And like I said, it's bigger than everybody, and I'm not here to bash anyone. Yeah. I'm just here to be really open, honest, raw, and authentic about a huge collective experience. Because it's not just me who grew up without a parent. It's not just me who experienced, you know, addiction and incarceration and things like that. Like, those are huge collective issues that a lot of people don't know what to do with. Mm-hmm. They don't know how to move through that. I mean, you're experiencing it too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's such a collective thing. And I'm sorry, but I already chose a long time ago that I'm not going to silence this medicine and this message for the comfort of others, as long as I'm doing it in a way that I can go to sleep at night and feel okay with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've already had to make that choice.
Well, and everything you shared, like you mentioned, has always been, I'm sure you have wild stories. That would honestly not be productive to share. It's just a wild story. Totally. You're not sharing that. You're sharing the overarching things of who this person is and how it's impacted your life. You know, you're not over here like, let's really get weird here. You know, that's not it. Yeah. But what I was thinking about, because obviously I've been sharing things too, and I'm always curious who listens to it. And it makes me think, like, all of us think everyone cares so much about us. Like, your mom, what's her name?
Monica.
Yeah. We don't know you.
Yeah.
We don't think any less of you. We don't think any more of you. We just know you as Melanie's mom, like this, you know, this figure in your life. But she might be thinking, like, everyone knows me and it's me.
Yeah.
And that's how we all think in our life. Like, don't say that about me. It's like, no one actually knows who I am when you're telling that story.
Right.
It's just your daughter or your sister or whoever.
Right.
But I also understand respecting family privacy and boundaries and all of that as well.
Yeah.
But
I know. It was hard. I was like,
tell her not to look at our TikTok. Is flooded with every clip we've ever made.
Oh, man. Yeah. So I just had to tell her, I'm like, listen, this is my career, Mom. You know, this is my career. This is the path that I've chosen. And I help a lot of people because of it. And you're helping a lot of people too, because everybody saw the videos of us having the most amazing time over the weekend. And everybody said to me, your family's so fun. Your mom is so awesome. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. Like, you guys are so great. I want to hang out with you. And her mind is just not thinking that that's what people are thinking.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So this has definitely, again, I've been hiding it from my family. And this one video slipped through the cracks. But that's another thing too. It's like, I don't want to hide it. I don't want to hide any of it. That's not cool. Mm-hmm. This is such a cool creation. This is such a great creation. I'm so proud that we're doing this. Yeah. And it is important. And you know what? A lot of people in my hometown who I'm hiding this from, they've gone through exactly what I've gone through. Because there's a lot of that in my hometown. And I talked about that in previous episodes of, like, a huge theme in my hometown is that the mothers are absent. And I've coached girls from my hometown who've had that experience. So it's like,
well, it's so funny because we've talked about this before, like living in secrecy.
Yeah.
And that was still showing up a little bit as you were like hiding the post, which I totally get. I'm the same way. I'm like, I don't want this person to see that.
Yeah.
But what I have found in all of this is that, like it's opened up a lot of conversations with Brian and I.
Yeah.
Because like I tell him a bunch of stuff, but sometimes he doesn't realize how I think about all of these topics because we're not going like this deep in everything.
Totally.
And so he's listened to a lot of episodes where he's like, I am learning a lot about you. And it gives us the opportunity to have really great conversations. But that would never have happened if this stuff, I was still being secret or like hiding certain parts of my work or whatever. Not intentionally, of course, but you know, he's like, how's your day? I'm like, great. I'm like, great. And we talked about this today.
Yeah.
And so then it opens up a dialogue.
Totally.
But speaking of how like social media and the internet can surprise people with things, I know how your mom's feeling. I know how she's feeling. So I'm not going to get too deep into it, but thank you, internet, because the internet made me aware that my dad is out of prison.
And you thought he had a life sentence.
And I thought he had a life sentence. I always knew parole was an option.
Yeah.
But you just never think it's going to happen. And I found out through the internet that he's out. Wow. And so I was so shocked. I probably like felt how your mom felt, just like, where did this come from? And it was a really interesting experience because I was in a full-on disassociation for like 24 hours. And then the next day, like I came back into my body and I was like super regulated again. But it was such an interesting experience. And for me, I'm like, there should be things in place that notify the family of when these major changes happen. Like, this is just so odd to me. But if it wasn't for the internet and social media, and then it makes me think, like, is he seeing any of these clips?
Does he know about this?
I mean, he's on social media. We're not connected on social media,
Okay.
but he's on it.
I don't know.
So just how things pop up,
Yeah.
I mean, it makes you think.
He's like over there watching all of our episodes, trying to learn you.
Who is this girl? And so all of this is very relevant to both of us. Like, and it made me think, like, because I never thought he was going to be out. And so in my mind, I'm like, wait, this is someone's life that you're talking about and that you're sharing. But it is a part of my life and a part of my story. And I do want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And so it has been a really interesting situation. Who knows? Maybe we'll have your dad and my dad on the podcast.
How epic would that be?
Wild. Wild. Dude, I have so many questions.
I'm calling that in.
Yeah.
I'm calling that in.
I have so many questions.
Well, if he was down to do an interview with somebody else, he'd be down to do one with you.
Facts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. But that's what's going on in my world.
I know. Well, that's huge, Casey.
Yeah.
That's major. That's really, really major. And I remember you saying when you first messaged me, telling me like, holy shit, I found out my dad's out. You're being patient when it comes to potentially meeting him. Like, where are you at with that?
So no contact has been made.
Okay.
But the one thing that, because apparently it's been a few months. And so I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. Why haven't I been notified? It's been a few months.
Who would notify you? Like him?
Him?
Or okay.
His family.
Right.
Like a lot of his family is on my social media. But also I was like, you know what? I'm happy that it's playing out this way because, you know, when like something exciting happens, we make decisions off of like adrenaline and dopamine.
Right.
Versus like letting the dust settle and actually feeling, what do I want to do in this situation?
Yeah.
So I'm very happy that nothing has been, no movement on his end, because now I know his adrenaline, his dopamine is settling. Like he's getting regulated. I'm getting regulated from this information as well. And so when something happens, it's going to be a very clear, conscious choice.
Oh, I love that perspective.
Yeah.
That's such a great perspective.
Yeah. I mean, we all have had those feelings, right? Something exciting happens and we say yes. And I'm like, I really didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, just let everything settle in. Let the hormones and chemicals balance out. And then when this is approached, we'll be clear. And so I'm comfortable now, but I was a little pissed.
That's normal. That's human.
Yeah, I was
human.
like, I was all like, okay. And then I was like, oh, it's been a few months. Like, I think I'm angry.
Where the fuck didn't you call me?
And then I'm like, okay.
It's fine.
I'm riding the waves.
I know. Isn't that funny? All the different freaking waves that we ride, you know? I was on a few of them this morning myself after the situation.
Yeah.
Because I hate to admit it, but I do still feel super affected with like the opinions of my family. But then I was watching a video of this guy and he was like, listen, I really don't give a fuck about all the people in the world. But you know what I do give a fuck about? My wife, my kids, my family, and my closest friends. I give a lot of fucks about that and what they think. Yes. And that's so natural and normal. So then I'm like, my mom's calling me. She's like, your uncle's calling me. And I'm like, fuck, great. The whole, you know? And then I call my sister and I'm like, Mom said you're going to be mad at me. And she's like, I don't give a fuck. And, you know, it's just like this whole thing. And I'm like, well, I hate being the niece that everybody talks shit about. And just all this stuff. And then I'm like, get to the bottom of the wave, I'm like, you chose the thug life, girl.
We're surfing.
This is the life that you chose. And so, own it.
Yeah.
Go to film today and
talk about it.
Post
more clips. But I love this conversation because as I mentioned earlier, there are so
many people.
Even in these conversations, there are still things that I will not go to.
Yeah.
Because I am not there yet.
Yeah.
But also there are things that shape us and that obviously we're passionate about what we do because we've endured hard things in our lives. And in order to connect with people, they have to know your why.
Right.
They have to.
Yeah.
And so I think the whole takeaway from this is being responsible with what you share while honoring the privacy of your family members, having the conversation so you can still write out your mission without blindsiding anyone. Like what Brian and I have been doing is he's like, what do I need to know about this week's episode? And I'm like, oh, it's about X, Y, and Z. And it doesn't matter. He's like, okay, cool. And then sometimes I'm like, it's about X, Y, and Z. And this might be news to you.
Yeah.
And so he's like, okay, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And so I've kind of learned that with him. That's what's going to allow him to feel safe in listening to what we're sharing.
Totally.
You know?
Yes.
Because sometimes we just think no one gives a fuck. And other people's lives are involved.
Yeah. And people are listening.
Yes.
Clearly.
In the UK. People all over.
Shout out to our UK people. We love you guys. Yeah. So, but it was good. It ended up smooth. And she's like, well, I'm glad I called you. I'm like, I'm really glad that you called me too, because I love you. I love you so much. And I actually, when I decided that I was going to be more open about my past, I had a conversation with both of my parents. And I was like, I'm going to start talking about my life. There's going to be things that you're not going to want to hear. There's going to be some things that you hear that you didn't even know about me.
Yeah.
And I just need to psychologically prepare you. So I already did my due diligence in that way. But I know it still doesn't make it easy when, those stories come out and things like that. But yeah, like Casey said, I know there are a lot of people out there who feel held back by that. But I know we've talked about this in a previous episode, is a lot of it is about your come from.
Yes.
Where am I coming from when I'm sharing these things?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Am I coming from still a fully open wound and I'm literally just trauma dumping? Or am I coming from beyond the experience with wisdom and teachings to share?
Right.
And from a graceful place too, not from a messy place, because it could get messy real fast.
It can.
Yes.
It can. And that's why it's important to share with her that was just a clip of the context.
Yes.
Because I could see how she could easily be like, what is this? Especially when you're not in this world and you don't realize a clip is for this reason and X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
But the whole context, I can validate that for you. You have never unproductively shared a piece.
No, because I love my mom so much. She's amazing. If you guys watch my stories, you see how dope my mom is.
Yeah, she's
fun.
Great.
She's so
fun.
great, dude. She's so funny.
What were you guys dancing to this weekend? What was the song?
Everything. We're dancing to everything.
It was like a known song. I can't remember what it was, but it was so
Me and my sister?
All
or
of you guys.
Well, there was a video of my sister and my mom dancing. Lannis Morissette.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, which is funny because last week I was singing that song. I was like, this is such a random song.
We're listening to a lot of random songs, but the party was jumping in that kitchen all night. It was so great, dude.
So fun.
I had the time of my life. Yeah. So it's just interesting. I'm actually in a season where some of the old things that I've experienced in the past are showing up in my present. Mm-hmm. And I shared with you a little bit earlier, and I did a little breadcrumb in a past episode that I've been seeing somebody.
Yeah.
And dude, you know, I kept saying this is you really don't know how much residue is left over from a past relationship or past experiences until you're in a new experiences that brings them to the surface.
Oh, yeah. You think you're healed. Everyone's like, I just need to meditate and do my breath work on my mat. It's like, no, go out into the real world.
Well, because, you know, once you get out of a long-term relationship, which mine was 6 years, then there's a healing process of your own, like during that. And then you think you're done. Like, you're like, oh, I feel healed. I feel happy. I'm back to the, you know, I'm in the space that I want to be in to where I even feel open to exploring other people and dating, which is a space that I got into. So I'm like, I'm good. And then you get into the relationship or you get into the dynamic and then you're experiencing like relationship things again and the nuances between personalities and energy. And then you're like, oh, there are so many little, dude, I did not know how many subconscious behaviors I had developed from my last relationship that I'm still operating in now, and I didn't even realize it.
Oh, yeah.
And he has been pointing them out to me. Shout out to him for being so aware and great about just really paying close attention and then being willing to bring certain things to my awareness, because I was doing this thing where I was unconsciously doing this thing where every time I would tell him a story, or particularly this day, I told him about a dream that I had and he was in it. And one of my old friends from high school was in it, one of my like best guy friends. And so I was telling like, yeah, you know, in my dream, this happened and this happened. And then my friend so-and-so, who like, that's a friend from high school. He's still a really good friend of mine. Like, we're still really close, da, da, da. And I like, he's like, you know what I noticed about you? I'm all, what? What do you notice about me? He's all, every time you mention a guy's name, you always have to give me like a thorough background of who they are to you, where you guys still stand. Like, you always give me this thorough background of them, but you never do that when you're talking about girlfriends. You only do that with guy friends. Is that because you think that I'm going to think something if you mention a guy's name or something? And I was like, oh my God, you're right. I do that. I'm like, I do that. And I was like, male friendships in general were a big issue in my last relationship. And I always had to give that information to make my person feel comfortable, you know? And so I did it for so long that it's such a subconscious habit now, and I didn't even realize that I've been doing it with you.
It's hardwired in.
Yeah, because it's a safety mechanism.
Oh, yeah, it's a coping mechanism.
Yeah, it's like, I don't want you to think anything, so let me give you all this information so that you don't have no room to think anything.
Get ahead of the problem.
Yeah. And it was just so nice because he was like, I see, but you don't have to do that with me. And I was like, okay, this is what trust feels like.
This is what a regulated nervous system feels like.
This is what real trust feels like.
Yeah, safety.
Yeah.
Not trust, safety.
Well, both.
Yeah.
Both. Yeah, so it's just been interesting in this season of my life because like we've talked about before, we're very well rounded in a lot of areas in our life, in our wellness, in our careers, and all these things. And now that I'm getting back into relationship dynamic, I'm like, oh, there's things here, Melanie. So that's been fun. It's been fun.
Yeah, that's rough, especially like relationship. I feel like relationships and business are just mirrors. Like all
1000%.
of your stuff comes up, and it's like two of the most important things, like all types of relationships and the thing that you're working on. So you're just like constantly faced with opportunities to heal and evolve.
Literally. Literally. I don't feel that way right now in business, though. A lot of the internal work that's been coming up for me lately, a lot of it is around personal. And it's interesting being in this stage of our lives because we live such great lives.
I know.
Like we really do. Like we're so blessed and abundant, and all of our needs are met, and we have high quality friendships and high quality experiences, and simultaneously I experience all of that, and there's a lot of things happening in my personal, like, family life right now too, with like my cousin. And so it's interesting being in my super high vibrational experience, and then I get a phone call of a very low vibrational experience that's happening with some of the closest people to me. Yeah. And so I'm over here, and I'm in entrepreneurship and wellness and detoxing, and I'm in all of these like high vibrational things, and then I'm simultaneously I drive away from them, help supporting my people through very challenging things, addiction, domestic violence, like all these crazy things. And I'm like, I'm out here laying in the sun with my bowl of berries. And then I get a phone call, and I'm like, Jerry Springer's on the phone.
Be right there.
I'm pulling up. Don't trip. For real, because I'm that cousin.
With your bowl of berries. You're organic.
And my castor oil in my belly button. My castor oil in my belly button. And then they're like, hey, this is what's going on. I'm like, fuck, I'll be right there.
Oh, good enough. Okay.
I'm coming.
Put your tits away.
I'm on my way. So it's been interesting. There's been so much polarity in my experience. And I'm glad we're having this conversation, because up until now, I'm like, why is the polarity existing right now in the way that is existing? What is it here to show me? Yeah. What is it here to teach me? Because I've been going through a little bit of an identity shift, man. Oh, I talked to you about that when I was at your house.
Yeah. Dude, that's tough.
Yeah.
That is so tough, especially when it's like, but when you were sharing it, it all made sense to me.
It did.
We just feel so stuck in it. That's why it's so important just to like share what's going on in your world with someone or something.
Dude, I needed you so bad that day. As soon as I got out of my car, I was like, I need you.
I got a lot to share. Okay.
Yeah, well, because I shared with you guys on here, and then I finally shared on social media that I didn't renew my contract with Tony and Dean.
Which, by the way, it's been 6 months now.
I know.
I'm not saying that it's like, get over it, but the fact that you just shared it, now it feels like a delayed closure.
Totally. Well, it's also because they have like a big event coming up.
So it's coming up.
I've been seeing it everywhere, and normally like I would be a part of the event, and I'm like, this is like the one that I'm not a part of. Yeah.
I've experienced that too, where you're like, this happens regularly and you're no longer a part of it, and it does. It brings up emotions.
And so I'm so solid in that choice. Like I feel so at peace with that choice. Yes. But where I'm at with it now, like I was telling you, is I'm in the identity shift as a coach now, because for so many years, a big part of my title has been Melanie Peralta, transformational mindset coach, Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi coach. Yeah. That's been like a big thing. And I left that because I don't want to teach entrepreneurship, but now I'm like, what I do feel really, really called and passionate about, and have always done, is truly the personal development, specifically in the area of generational healing.
hence all the stuff you share.
I know, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm so passionate about, because that's the reality for most humans on a daily basis.
Yes. Even the people who've had great lives, there are still programs and things going on from generation to generation and things you pick up from your family. Not everyone is perfect. They might have had a great upbringing, but there are still things.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's why I do that. Or that's what's going on over there. So it's
Yeah.
like such a crucial thing for everybody.
Yeah. And I'm like, even people who they have their own children and they want to do things differently, you know what I mean? There's so many elements to it, but I guess even the experience that I had with my mom this morning, there's still some things that are kind of blocking me from diving fully into it comfortably, you know? And I'm having to work through that right now.
Yeah.
I am.
Well, it's a huge thing.
Yes.
It's a huge thing. We don't realize how much power we give people subconsciously.
Yeah.
Like we think that we don't care and that it's not a big deal, but it's like this energetic chokehold that some people have on us.
Yeah.
And you have to work really hard to break that. And oftentimes it requires, like people always say that, who cares what they think? It's like, well, I do care.
Yeah.
I do care. I do want their approval.
Yeah.
Like that is normal and that is natural.
Totally.
You know, and so there's so many layers to work through, but that's wild that happened before today.
I know. So I'll be sitting with that. I'll be sitting in prayer and meditation with that and figuring out, you know, just where I wanna proceed from here.
Take it.
Yeah, because I've been doing the soul support sessions for Mental Health Awareness Month, which I usually only do them during this month. Every now and then I'll open them up later, but that's also really just supportive for me to get back into the energy of just being heart to heart with people.
Of service.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're so consumed with ourselves and all our own problems that sometimes just like getting outside yourself and back into service, it's like, oh, okay. I feel more grounded and rooted.
Yeah.
Like when I was spiraling and disassociating with my dad stuff, I went and held one of my somatic trainings like virtually. And I'm like, I feel so much better. I just worked with all these incredible mentees. I am back, baby.
Yeah.
It feels good.
So you got something coming up, actually.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
Oh, I am so excited about this. So October 3rd and 4th, they are hosting a 2-day in-person training for leaders, healers, facilitators, practitioners, really any wellness entrepreneur who is wanting to up-level their skill set, enhance their confidence, and extract their it factor.
Yeah.
And what I love about this experience is, I mean, at this point, I have mentored hundreds of practitioners, and what I really pride myself in is recognizing patterns. And I have noticed this pattern hundreds of times, and I noticed it with myself too, which is this dip that happens after you get your certification. So you go get certified and you're like high on life and you launch a couple of sessions and all your friends and family are there and you like get this initial soft validation. Like everyone loves this. It's going to be easy. And then your friends and family stop going because they're like, I can't go to all of your events.
Totally.
You have like empty small rooms and then you go down this dip and this crash and it messes with your mental health. And it makes you question everything. You feel like a failure and you lose your confidence. And in that crash and that dip, usually people give up. And I have seen excellent practitioners in this crash and they just cannot put their next event on the books. They have lost all confidence. And so the intention behind this training is to build back people's confidence, refine their skills, but also give them a roadmap and a plan. Like, what are you moving through? Let's talk about business. Let's talk about what you're moving through personally. Let's have this roadmap with us on this whole journey. We'll go through the 2-day training. We're going to do exercises. We're going to build up your confidence again. You're going to learn new things. We're going to create that it factor, extract that it factor from you so that you can really own you and feel confident about what you're bringing to your community and then get you back out there.
Yeah.
And then we have integration calls. So what are you doing with the plan? All the business strategy that we gave you on the first call, like what are you doing with this? Accountability. And so I'm really excited about that. And I just know anyone who feels called to join us, this will be a pivotal moment in
for
your
sure.
journey.
For sure.
The dip, the crash, it's so painful. And luckily for me, I was able to pull myself out of it. But a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't. And so this is for that person who might be experiencing that, or this is for the person who might be feeling like they're copying all the other facilitators and they're like, I don't feel like myself in this experience because you're just like watching me and doing what I do. Do what you do and attract your people who aren't going to love my sessions. They're going to love your sessions.
Yes.
And so just
everybody has their own unique medicine.
Everyone has their own flavor.
Yes.
But it's so easy for like us to be influenced by the people we aspire to be or we look up to. And it's like, you'll never be me and I will never be you. So let's just be solid in who we are and have amazing sessions, change lives, and just trust the process. And so I'm really excited about that.
I can tell. You just lit the fuck up about that.
I know. I'm so
It's so important, though. We've been talking about this. We've been talking about it.
It's so important. And I love the intentionality behind it. It's not a 2-day rah, you get that high again and then it's over.
Yeah.
No, this is so intentional because I know what gets people out of it.
Yes.
And so that's what we're doing. It's on October 3rd and 4th here in Scottsdale, actually in Cave Creek.
Nice.
Beautiful home up in Cave Creek. If you're interested in joining us, send me a DM and I'll get you all of the information. I'll also throw you a little promo Humanhood code.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So reach out to me, mention you heard it here on Humanhood, and I'll slip you a little something.
And
yeah,
after that weekend.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
so
scheduled my weekend around your weekend, by the way.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then you changed your weekend.
Did I?
And so I changed my weekend.
Really? When did I change it?
It's always the first weekend in October, but you changed it to the second weekend.
It's not always the first. It's always within the first 2 weeks of October.
Okay. I thought it was always the first, but whatever. I changed
She
it.
said it, whatever.
Changed it for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that. So if you're not a facilitator and you're not in that space because you still have your own work to do, and right now you're not even interested in helping other people and your focus is to help heal yourself, the weekend after that, we've got the 5th annual. Dude, 5th annual?
That's wild.
Wow. 5th annual Womanhood Wellness Weekend from October 10th to October 13th. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We check out Monday. And this is the experience where you get to come and fully be held, nourished, taken care of, seen, play, have fun, and just really, really poured into. This is the space. I've had my program called the Life Reset. Womanhood Wellness Weekend is a life reset.
Yeah.
In so many ways for people. This is the place where you come and you really deal with and dive into what's present for you right now. A lot of the women who come into this experience, they come as a very broken, confused version of themselves. Mm-hmm. They are seeking and searching and needing love, care, support, guidance, a sense of direction. We've had women come into the experience even feeling suicidal and leaving the weekend ready to live life, feeling like people do give a fuck about me. Yeah. I do matter. I do have sisterhood. It does exist. It is real. And now I have tools and now I have more wisdom to go out into my life and live differently. Yeah. And even with that, we have women who've been coming for all the 5 years.
Yeah.
They come back every single year because even just a year later, they're in a totally different place, totally different version of themselves. And then they start working on from where they're at here and now.
Yeah.
So we call it the new year. It's like our new year because, like, dang, it's been a year, girl. What's going on? You know? And like last year, we've had multiple years where some women, they came to retreat and their goal was to get pregnant. Year later, they literally have a baby. They had healing to do.
Yes. And we've had women who have come in really wanting to leave their situation.
And then they have.
Yeah. And with that experience that happened recently, the way everyone came together to support that person.
Oh, let's talk about that.
Yes. While maintaining privacy.
Totally. Yeah, for sure. So we had a sister who came to retreat and she had expressed that she needed to evolve her situation and get out of her relationship. But, you know, when it's hard to move on and become a single mom and do all of those things. So long story short, a year later, less than a year later, less than a year, like what, six months later, she did what she had to do. Boo, if you're listening to this, we're so proud of you. She did what she had to do and she made that choice and she got her own place and she's living her single mom life now. And in the process of that, she reached out to the Womanhood Chat because the Womanhood Chat runs deep. The Womanhood Wellness Weekend is not the type of retreat where you come to and it's like, all right, see ya. No, like we're bonded, dude. We stay together. She put in the retreat chat an update of, hey, I did it. I'm on my own now. And I have nothing. Yeah. I'm starting fresh. I've made this registry on Amazon. If there's any way that you guys can help, please do so. Yeah. Girl, I sent her so much stuff. Yeah. But I was first of all, I'm just so proud that she did that and the whole situation in general. But I'm so glad that we created a sisterhood bond and community that she felt safe enough in such a vulnerable ask.
So vulnerable.
To put in there. And obviously we're all, hell yeah, girl. Yeah. I will buy you some new dishes. Yes. The sisterhood.
She got all these little
That's what gifts. It's all about, man. But can you imagine if she would have never, you know what she told me? When she first came to the very first retreat, because she's been coming back now, she said, I always had working with you or going to one of your events on my vision board. And then finally I came to one. And if it wasn't for her saying yes to herself and doing that, she would have never met all of these sisters who were willing to do that for her.
Yes. And the vulnerability of asking.
Yes.
I feel like we can go to these things and meet these people, but still there's a lot of people out there, and I'm like guilty of it too, where it's like I still can't be vulnerable and seek support in certain situations because no one really cares or they have their own life or whatever. And so feeling, again, safe enough to be vulnerable because we do want to help you. People do want to help you and support you.
They do.
They really, really do. So just having anybody to move through such a deep process like that, it was just so beautiful.
Yeah.
We love you.
Yes. We love you, boo. If you're listening to this, we love you so much. So with that being said, Womanhood Wellness Weekend is happening, 5th annual here in Scottsdale, October 10th through the 13th, for all of my people who are needing a life reset, who are ready to get into the next level of who they're meant to be. And then you need the sisterhood in the community to support you along the way. Yeah. So those are the things that we have coming up.
Yes. It's going to be a great year. And what I love how both of ours are in October because it's before the holidays where everything gets busy. But during the holidays is where people slip.
Yeah.
They slip on their business. They slip on themselves. But it's the people who stay focused and devoted, whether it's to their health or to their mission or to whatever. By January, they're not starting over.
Yeah.
It's like they are that evolved version of themselves and like taking off while everyone's like, gotta start now.
Yeah.
And so I love doing things like in October and like going through the holidays with commitment with whatever it is that I'm doing.
Yes.
I'm like,
that's the activation point for us.
Yeah. Totally. I'm like, why am I going to wait till January?
Yeah.
Never made sense to me.
I mean, let's be honest. January is not even the real New Year, but that's
it's not. It's March, right?
It's the spring equinox. This is why I tell everybody. October Oct is 8. November is 9.
Nice.
Dec is 10. Okay? That's the 10th month. And then January is supposed to be the 11th. February is supposed to be the 12th. March is supposed to be the 1st.
I
But
always feel most motivated in March.
dude, spring, that's when everything's coming to life, man. That's when everything is coming to life. And we're about to get into summer here in Arizona.
I know.
So
I'm
it's going to
sweating.
be hot in here when we're filming.
We have AC.
I know, but she
But-
said it gets warm in here. So if you start, if we start showing up with less clothing, just give us grace. We're in Arizona. We're in Arizona.
Swimsuit episode.
No. Actually, maybe, because I've been in the gym, strength training 4 days a week, bitch.
I'll be in my little triangle bikini up here. I don't mind. I'm tan. I'm looking good.
All right, you guys. We love you. We're here to stay. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being a part of this journey with us, the Humanhood Series, baby, where personal development gets more personal. Yes. Love y'all.
Bye.
We out of here.